So this is a tutorial for the pencil case, and I have cut all the pieces out that I need. So you've got your SIP, you've got your two tag ends that are going to go over the SIP. I've chosen this material for my outer pencil case colour, and I've chosen a pink for my lining. Now I just wanted to vary mine up a little bit, so when my pencil case will look like this, I've decided to cut out two strips of the pink leopard, and I'm going to have these going across the bottom here. But because they're the leopard, if I kept the material together like this, then the other side they would be upside down. So I've decided to cut these out and have it so that both of the leopards are the right way round. So the first stage, what we're going to do is to secure the leopard fabrics together and to do a hem across the top here. So this just becomes a nice little pocket on our pencil case. Okay, right, let's get started. So we're going to place these right sides together. I'm just using 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, back stitch. So we should have those like this, which will look good because that will be the bottom of the pencil case coming off either side. And next I'm going to do the hem here and across here. So I'm going to turn the iron on for that to begin with. We're going to press out this seam and do a small turnover hem on here. If you wanted to, you could top stitch along here and here. I'm not going to, I'm quite happy with that at the moment. Right, so we're going to turn over the top. I'm just doing this by eye. If you want to measure it, you can. It's about 5mm. If you want that nice and neat, you can turn over it again. Just going to clip those in place, ready to sew. And do the same the other side. It's really hot, be careful with your fingers. While we have the iron on, I'm just going to get the tabs, and we need to iron these in half so we have that lovely fold there, and we need to do that to both of them and press them. Okay, that'll do. Save those for later. So now we're just going to do a stitch all the way down here. Back stitch. So we've ironed our tabs. The folded edge we're going to put up into the top corner of our pencil case. Again, folded edge facing outwards. That's going to go there. Now we're going to get our sip. I've added a bit of tape to mine just to make it easier to put it where I want it in place. You can pin it if you want to. I just find this a bit easier. And we're going to place now our sip face down, so it's the right way facing towards our main fabric. I'm going to line that up against the edge there. And then we're going to get our lining fabric, and we want the right side facing this side. So again, I'm just going to line that up. I'm just going to get some clips. Make sure it's all together. Just going to clip it there with one of the tabs and do the same this side. Make sure that it's all together. Line it up nicely. And clip it and paste. So what we're going to do now is sew down along here to join those fabrics together, and I'm going to change the foot in my machine to a zipper foot just to make it easier. Right, so we're coming up to the zip at the moment. I'm actually going to put that clip back in, and I'm going to move that zip backwards to an area that's already been sewn. Make sure you leave your needle in the machine, just to make it a little bit easier for us. So I'm just going to move that back away from my presser foot. Squeeze it past. There we go. And just make sure it's all aligned still. Press the foot down and make sure you're feeling where the zip is. That's what I'm doing. I'm holding this here, feeling where the zip is so that the needle doesn't go over any of the teeth of my zip. Backward stitch. Okay. Trim off those threads. So we open it out onto the main side, and we can take off the tape. You can see that we've got our tabs that are going to cover up our zip area here, the end, and we have our main fabric and our lining fabric. So we're going to do the same to that side. Okay. So what we have is the zip, right side of the fabric, out of the zip, our tab that's going to cover up the end there, and our tab that's going to cover up the end there. So now we need to sandwich the other side of the fabric and sew along this zip here. For this stage, we're going to get our main fabric here. And we're going to line it up to our tabs here and clip that in place and clip that side in place. So that in there is main fabric to main fabric. We're now going to get the zip, and we're going to also add that to the clip. Make sure it's neatly lined up, and we'll do the same this side. The last thing we're going to add is the lining fabric. And we're going to do the same as last time and sip along here. So, not sip, sorry. Just feel that that's in the right place. Just take your time, nice and slow. Now I'm coming up to my sip, so I'm going to put the needle in, lift at the presser foot, carefully try and push the sip down to where I just been sewing, and hopefully that's out of the way. Line those fabrics back up. Okay. Right, carefully holding this bit in place because of the tabs. Oh, I've lost the feel of my sip. Where's it gone? Okay. Let's clean up all of the threads. Okay, so on to the next bit. Right, so we need to turn our main fabric on the outside. And so far we have our pencil case like this. Okay, we now need to work on these edges and the pocket we're going to add on the top. Now I'm going to add on the pocket. You don't have to do this, this is optional. I've got an overhang on each side and we're just going to pin it to the outer fabric. Okay, so let's get that pinned in place. Make sure you don't catch in your lining fabric like I've just done there. Okay, so once you've done that, we need to turn the fabric, main fabric, inside out. So we're just going to pull that through. And what we're going to do now is make sure we're happy with the layout and it's going to be nice and flat. Right, what we're going to do to finish this off is we're going to sew all the way around the edging here, leaving a gap to turn through, which I'm going to do here. Make sure that when you come to the sip area that the lining, this fabric here, goes over the top of the sip area. So we're going to sip across here, round here, and make sure that again goes over this way, not folded that way. Okay, right, off we go. So I am going to start sewing from here because I'm going to leave a gap on this side. Back stitch. Now remember, we want these to go facing, the lining facing this way. Now it's going to be quite thick here, so we need to go careful over those. Fantastic. And I'm just checking that everything is all right here. I'm going to go back here. Now if you want a seam to go across the bottom of your pencil case, then sew across this now. I don't want a seam to go across there, so I've just done my edge to there. I'm going to join in here. Stitch. Okay, here we go. Now we need to leave a gap for turning through. So I'm going to backward stitch there. And we're going to turn through on here, okay? Tidy up these edges first. And I'm just going to trim in the corners so we don't have any bulkiness in the corners. Make sure you don't go over the stitches. Right, I think I'm happy with all of that. Check that side. Okay, I can take those pins out now. It's holding it in place. I've got 2 more pins in there I need to be careful of, and now we're going to turn it inside out. Okay, so I've just given the pencil case a press. It's looking good. I'm liking the zip tabs, which are working well, and the colourway is working well. The last thing that we need to do is to close the opening in our lining, and we can do that with a blind stitch. Pull that out here. So get yourself a needle and thread, and we're just going to join that hole there. Okay, so I'm just going to get my needle, go down the centre there. Now I'm just using a darker thread for you guys to see. Obviously you have got the threads that's been given in the pack, which will blend in really nicely with this. So once you've gone across, you're going to go across this way, back to the centre on this side, and try and get it in the seam line. It's quite difficult sometimes. There we go. And we're going to go across this way.
gone too far over there. You need to really try and get it in that join.
Once again. Now if you can't see it very clearly on my videos, loads of videos on YouTube where people have got good cameras that can zoom in on what they're doing. Oh, it looks like I've got a knot. There we go. Okay, so when you come to the end, I'm just going to do a quick loop, put the needle through, and then pop that straight back in, poke out your corners, and then you have your lovely pencil case that goes along with your lovely journal. So we've got a pen there, just going to get one. You can always pop a pen down the side here if you wanted to, but I think, there we go, and pop a load of pens, get a few out here in the pencil case. There we have it, your lovely pencil case and matching journal. Enjoy, folks.